Yeah, all the marbles are on the line here. I'm here training very, very hard. I'm about to go for my second session of the day. I'm in great condition already. We're 7 weeks out. I feel very confident. You know, a couple of things went. I beat him in the original bout. I lost in the rematch, and now we've got the trilogy. I've got a few little adjustments to make. I feel very, very confident. I'm very, very focused and driven, and I'll go in there and put on a hell of a performance and get it back for July 10th.
You're not wrong to believe you're going to see a better and more prepared Conor McGregor. And Poirier is going to go into that third fight a lot better than he came into this one. As well as he thinks he performed, and he did, I'm just sharing with you, there is takeaways for Dustin as well. It was not a perfect fight for Dustin either. Major improvements from the first one to the second one by Dustin. I think you'd be very naive to not believe that Dustin is going to make very big improvements from the second one to the third one. Conor might as well. But don't miss that side of the story, or it's going to be as though you missed the fight.
I think it's a very competitive third fight. I'm very interested to see it, and I think I'm leaning towards McGregor slightly, but that's not in any way to devalue Poirier. You know, he is an excellent fighter, there's no doubt.
Does Conor have the motivation to go back and become the guy that competed at the level that he did all those times?
You know, Conor looked good in that fight. He looked fast, he looked focused, he looked sharp. Dustin was, landed the bigger shots and put his lights out. But, I don't think there's a lack of motivation from Conor. He looked good going into that fight. I'm a big fan of both of them. Really like both of them. So, I'd like to see Conor win. And then, who does he fight next?
This is a sport where a lot of times the bandits win. Sometimes the bad guy wins in mixed martial arts. Dustin Poirier is a good guy, and he's one of the good guys that win. Dustin even spoke to it himself. The aura of Conor McGregor was gone. Well, part of that aura is that at every turn he's taking shots at you. He's making you feel inadequate. He's a bit of a jerk, right? That's okay. That was part of his game. This last approach seemed a little bit different. Did not seem like Conor McGregor was the same guy. It seems like he's going to go back to trying to be the guy that he was. The guy with a bit of an edge, right? The guy with a bit of an edge is usually the guy that people tune in for. Floyd Mayweather has a bit of an edge. Oscar De La Hoya had an edge. Mike Tyson has an edge. Like, those are the guys. Conor has an edge. And now it may be too late, because Dustin just might not care anymore after knocking him out in the way that he did.
I think he took Poirier a little lightly because he stopped him so early the first time around. And I don't think he credited Poirier with being a different animal, or at least being as, obviously he's got, great coaches in his corner, like Mike Brown. I don't think he credited Poirier with his adaptability to be able to find a way to beat McGregor. So he just went back to I'll just counterpunch with my left. I'll come over his jab and catch him with my left, because that seemed to be the only and the main game plan, which is what left his lead leg vulnerable.
Conor got kind of pieced up in that fight with the leg kicks. That's something that you have to take time to fix. You have to take time learning how to see him coming. You got to take time to kind of figure out how to check and defend those kicks, because why wouldn't you go back to that well if you Dustin Poirier?
Man, I definitely think Dustin showed a lot last fight, and I see him maintaining that, and Conor getting tired again. I'm sure he's training and all this, but I don't know what he's gonna focus on. The calf kicks aren't that big of a deal, and we'll see. I mean, his old way of fighting. I saw videos where, when he was against Jose, the way that he moved, but he was also 10 pounds lighter at featherweight. I mean, we're gonna rock with USA on that one, and South Florida. That's Dustin Poirier. I think he gets it done in the trilogy.
Dustin told me, he goes, I don't enjoy fighting anymore. I don't like this, but I'm a dog, right? He's like, I'm a dog out here. Like, I am a dog out here. And he's like, it is what it is. He gonna fight when he gets in there. And I said that last week. I said, look, man, I'm not gonna say that he's gonna win, but every time he goes out there, he's gonna fight you as hard as he can, right? Because I know what the kid's made of. But, the reality is, Conor got beat by the guy that's been active, that's been competing, that probably should have been the favorite. They put the odds for the third fight if they do it, and Conor's the favorite again. I just don't understand how anything and what happened would make people. people think that he should be the favorite going into a third fight?
I think that Dustin Poirier should be the favorite. I feel like that's rightfully so. However, what I do know about Conor is that he is very intelligent, and everybody can make mistakes, right? I think he did get too into the boxing. You know, he's training for. You cannot perfect both. You can't be perfect in both. And when you fight Dustin, you've got to be perfect. And I think he had just gotten a little too distracted by the money in boxing and, you know, all of that. And he thought, well, if I have the great hands, I'll beat him in that department. But then he got the legs kicked off him. I think it's the same as the second fight.
You go back to the first fight, and the first, 30 seconds or so, he's doing the long karate stance. He's got a hop side kick and a spinning kick. I think he goes back to that version. I think we see him lighter on his feet. We see him much more of a mixed martial artist instead of a counter puncher. And I think he's going to be able to cut the octagon down against Poirier with that hop side kick. Slide it into his left hand. He chose to be a heavy front foot counter puncher because he expected to stop him in the first minute. And I think he just underestimated Poirier. And I think this time around, he'll be on his game. He'll be fighting at range. He'll use his kicking. I would pick him to beat. If he'd have beat Poirier the second time, I'd pick Poirier to win the third time because McGregor wouldn't be as interested. Because he's coming off a loss, I think he's more motivated and he's more likely to win the next one around.
They're one apiece, but when Conor knocked out Dustin, that was a long time ago. 145, of course, so the ability to take a shot for Dustin is a little more improved. We saw he took the shots against Conor the first time. But I got to say, I respect Conor here. You got to listen, I know a lot of people, some of his antics, whatever, I can't say anything. My God, my antics were out of control. But you got to respect what he's doing here, because I know personally, to walk back into an octagon and fight somebody that just knocked you out cold and left you on the canvas, to fight that person again immediately afterwards without getting a tune-up fight, without getting a warm-up fight, get somebody a little bit lower to boost your mojo, to get your confidence back, that takes a lot of balls, so you got to respect what Conor's doing here.
I think one of Conor's biggest strength is he overwhelmed his opponent with his pressure, with his presence, with all the information that he gives his opponent's brain, all of that stuff that he does, the kick, the talking, all that, he overwhelmed his opponent, and a lot of them, they fold under pressure. But Poirier, he stays sharp, and that was a real testament of how good he is, It was amazing. And now it will be interesting to see how Conor can come back from it. I believe Conor can come back from that loss.
I mean, they've both knocked each other out. They both have tremendous skills. I think because of the momentum, because of the recent knockout, maybe you lean towards Dustin, but you can never underestimate Conor McGregor, as we know. And he's a very wealthy man. He's got untold riches. But the one thing you can't buy is a UFC championship. The point I'm saying is he's going to be motivated for this fight, because you cannot buy respect. You have to earn it. And the way he earns it is going out and beating Dustin Poirier. Listen, I respect what Conor's doing. You got to respect Dustin as well. It's going to be a tremendous fight.